Hi, I'm Craig, and I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living with confidence, connection, and purpose so that they can thrive in civilian life and relationships. Hey, vets and families, I'm here again. Welcome to Royal Rock Counseling and Consulting for another video where we're going to help you reclaim your purpose, strengthen relationships, and live royally and live well. I'm glad you're back, and I'm going to jump right into it. Not a lot of precursor, not a lot of talking. If you like what we're doing, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel with other veterans who might need it. But guys, this information is so important, vets and families, that I really, really, really got to get into it. And I'm excited about what to bring to you today. I'm doing another video about evidence, but this time it's going to go way deeper and it's going to be so much more helpful, and it's going to give you a real good roadmap into what you need to do. What we're going to address today is really the most critical part, I believe, of your VA disability claim. It's how to build strong, credible evidence. Now, when we've talked about evidence on this channel before, we've talked about it in more ancillary terms. We've talked about the fact that you need evidence for, to submit to the VA for your claim. But we really didn't do a deep dive on what evidence was. And we really didn't do a deep dive on how to build that evidence so that when you present it to the VA, it actually is something that they can review, that is credible, something that they can review that has substance, something that they can review that will make sure that you have a strong chance to get the benefits you deserve and to win your claim. So we're going to break down the VA's duty to assist versus your responsibility. We're going to talk about how to use your medical records, lay and buddy statements, and how to write functional impact statements under 3 CFR 4.10. Okay. Plus, I'm going to show you how to properly use VA Form 21 TAC 4138 to make your case. That's the statement of support of claim. And we're going to make sure that we can make that case clear and compelling whenever we write it and submit it to the VSRs and the RVSRs. Look, family, I'm excited. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into building evidence for VA claims. Okay, so I've talked about this before, but I always like to give a review, and we always like to give definitions about why we do the things that we do or why we submit the things that we submit. So why does evidence matter? Okay, evidence is the backbone, guys. Oh my goodness. Evidence is the backbone of your VA claim. Evidence determines service connection and your rating level. And once we get to that point, because I don't like to talk about money and compensation and those kinds of things too soon. I know there's a lot of VA claim companies out here and a lot of people out here in the claim content space, whether they have a company or not. They always want to talk about how much money you're going to get. You can get up to $4,000, and I understand why that's a hot topic of discussion, but I'd rather talk about how to build the claim, you know, to where you're sure and satisfied that you've submitted something to the VA that's reputable, that's credible, that's current, accurate, and complete. And building the case is more important because if you find yourself in a position where you have to fight at higher level review or you have to fight at BVA, you will now be built up to be able to do that. And it won't be because you're just going for the money. It'll be because you know how to tell the story that you need to tell, and get in front of the VA to let them know exactly how your service has impacted your life functionally, your activities of daily living, all of those things. It's about much more than the money. The money is important. Don't get me wrong. And I understand that veterans have all kinds of financial circumstances and all kinds of things that need to be done, needs, circumstances, financial concerns, even financial debt, all of those kinds of things. Though the money is certainly important, we need it to live. But at the same time, learning this skill of building your claim is infinitely more important than just getting something back from the VA from a compensation perspective, because there's so much more to this. So, I am an advocate of the veteran actually learning the process, right? Submitting yourself under the process, learning what goes into a claim, a viable claim, so that when you do get that rating level, right? When you do see it, like, you have so much knowledge and so much wisdom and understanding on what that means, that when you go for an increase, or if you decide to go for an increase, or you decide to apply for other benefits, you got it. It's just like second nature, just like swimming, or just like riding a bike for you. Okay, so determine service connection and your rating level. Without strong evidence, claims are destined to get stalled or get denied. And so this is the reason why evidence matters. The VA's duty to assist versus the veteran's responsibility. Let's talk about that a little bit. The VA must help gather federal records, schedule C&P exams, and notify of missing evidence. We've talked about the VA's duty to assist on this channel before. I started with that because I want the veteran to understand the delineation of those responsibilities, what the VA is responsible for versus what the veteran is responsible for. These are things to know so that when you start filing and fighting for your claim, respectfully and tactfully, like we learned in the military, you can understand who has the responsibility for what, right? Along the process, all the positions in the chain, who has responsibility for your claim, uh, where it is, who's reviewing it, what they are reviewing. It's important to learn those mechanics and nuts and bolts. The veteran's role is to provide private records, submit supporting statements, and respond to VA requests. And listen, I will add to this that your responsibility is to do that in as timely a fashion as you possibly can. You can't expect the VA to be timely with you if you are not timely with them. And an extra added ingredient and element for the veteran is always a modicum of patience, is always a modicum of grace and kindness for anybody you encounter in the VA healthcare system. I know there's a difference of opinion with that, or the VA compensation claims process. I know there's a difference of opinion because people are like, man, no, they owe me these benefits. I'm going to give them. No, um, I would not advise to do that. I would advise to keep a level head, show a level of maturity as you're working through the VA claims process. I know it's difficult. I know it's frustrating, but showing more of a level of maturity, showing more level of restraint, and showing more level of wisdom and the desire to learn and grow through this process, you will be much more the better for it. Trust me on that one. Okay. Now, here's a visual chart showing the veteran's responsibility versus the VA responsibility. Just put together a little something for you guys so you can see it. So respond to VA requests, submit supporting statements. So we've already talked about what those responsibilities are. This is just a visual to put that together for you if it's helpful to you. Now, I'm going to go over some types of acceptable evidence, and then I am going to unlock something in this video that will completely turn your understanding of VA claims on its head with regard to your ability to be able to submit. There's VA claims. There's a reason why there's a burden on the veteran to submit VA claims. One of the reasons is that nobody can really explain it like you can. Listen, I know that the big craze right now is to hire someone, whether that be an attorney, whether that be a VSO, no, not a VSO, but whether it be an attorney, whether it be a VA claims company or VA claims expert, um, self-proclaimed VA claims expert, VA claims attorney. I understand that that's the push right now to do that. But I would caution you on that. And I would say pause on that until you actually have to do that. And when you do that, make sure you're getting the right person to represent you and the right person to assist you and guide you. It's so interesting. I was watching another content creator, and I was watching him do he was doing a video on a higher level review that was prepared by a VA claims company. And it was tough to watch that video. I'm not even gonna lie. I was scratching my head trying to figure out Man, I wonder what angle they were trying to come from when they wrote that for the veteran, um, or guided the veteran. Um, it is one thing to utilize regulations, rules, and stipulations, but it is another thing to interpret them well and to present those rules and regulations in a way that makes sense. And here's the third thing. The third thing is whenever you're writing to Congress or whenever you're writing to um, government officials, understand that the way in which you write those things, the manner and the attitude in which you write those things, sometimes means more than the content that you're writing. So that's just food for thought. Keep that in mind. Types of acceptable evidence are service treatment records, VA medical records, private medical evidence, non-medical evidence like employment, school, police records, those kinds of things. Okay. Why does that matter? What's the point of having police records, employment records, and school records? Because they can actually tie a connection to um, why you may have been going through something from a medical perspective, right? It's almost like an investigator putting together the puzzle of um, a narrative of the story, trying to piece together why an incident or an injury occurred or happened, right? As many factual details and documents as they can gather together to put the story together and to put the case together, that's what they're going to do. Like, remember, we call these things cases in the VA, right? So, a good narrative storyline, a good reconstruction, a good sort of putting together of your service treatment records, VA medical records, private medical evidence, and any non-medical evidence that is applicable to your claim will be very helpful. Okay. Medical evidence, diagnosis, treatment history, and nexus opinions. Now remember, I'm no fan of nexus letters, but this says nexus opinions. Okay? Nexus opinions should be, in my opinion, should be organic. Nexus opinions should actually describe. Listen, you can have nexus opinions all over your medical record. All nexus opinions are is connecting a service, an injury or event or illness in service with your military service. That's what it is, guys. Like that's it's not really rocket science. Like you don't have to go out of your way to do all of this stuff. It, if you go to the doctor and you say, "Listen, while I was in the military, I got injured. I'm still having recurring back pain, recurring knee pain, whatever the case may be." Make sure you're telling the truth. Make sure you're honest. More than likely, will be some kind of connection to your military service, whether that's mental, emotional, physical, social. There's going to be some kind of impairment, right? If you're able to present well, not only at your CMP exam, but if you're able to present well in front of medical providers where you're going to be seen, right? Talk about how you're feeling. That's one of the struggles that I think a lot of veterans have. We are told to push through, so we don't know how to talk about how we feel. Therefore, we don't present well before examiners, so we leave them confused about what's actually going on with us because we may be confused. So just talk about what's happening to you. Use layman's terms. You don't have to use medical jargon. We've talked about that on this channel. Talk about what's going on with you and let people know what's happening in your body, mind, soul, body, and spirit. Independent medical opinions. We've talked about that as well. That constitutes and counts as medical evidence. CMP exams, but the CMP exams, remember, are not always favorable. It is under the auspices of the CMP examiner to determine whether or not your condition is service connected. So always remember that. Lay evidence. Lay evidence is defined as statements from the veteran, family, or others with firsthand knowledge. Okay, we're going to get into that in this video. We're going to talk about when to use lay evidence, when not to use it, those kinds of things. Useful for symptoms, daily impact, and events not in service records. Um, all of these things are in my series, my 7-part series on 7 ways to write effective lay and buddy statements, right? I talk about a narrative way. I talk about a persuasive way. I talk about a functional way. I talk about a historical way. I show you how to write buddy statements. I'm giving y'all all the sauce. I'm giving you all the sauce. I don't even know who's watching, but I'm giving you all the sauce. Okay. And again, thank you to my subscribers who are watching. I appreciate you. VA Form 21 TAC 4138 is the statement in support of claim. And we are going to go over this form. Here's section 1. Again, as I've said before, all of these forms, the beginning parts of these forms are pretty much the same. They're asking for your name, your address, it's just the veteran's identification information, your email address, your mailing address. Make sure that's accurate, current, accurate, and complete. Every form, every date, every signature, every bottom line, everything current, accurate, and complete. Okay. Let's talk about section 2. Section 2 is the remark section. Now, before I put this next thing up here, okay, listen. This is I'm putting this next thing up here, but guys, you have to understand. You have to tell your story. Okay, I am about to show you something that is just an example of what I've used that has been effective, but it's been effective for that client. And this is the reason why I say, if you're going to get somebody to work with you on your VA claim, that's perfectly fine. But make sure it's somebody who understands your unique situation. Because if you take a template, now listen, I want y'all to hear me. Whoever's out there, whoever I'm talking to, I don't know who I'm talking to. I want you to hear this. If you don't remember anything else I say, remember this. If you take a template of something that somebody else did and you lay it on top of your claim and you expect to get compensation or benefits from, when they red mark that thing and send it back to you, denied, you can trace the reason directly back to you not being authentic to who you were. And now let me go on the side note. Vet, family, soldier, sailor, Marine, Coast Guardsman, airman, National Guardsman, National Guards woman, National Guards person. Be authentic to who you are. Be true to yourself. When you're writing claims, when you're applying for a job, when you are helping out in the community, when you're dealing and interacting with family, friends, co-workers, be authentic to who you are. There's no future in front, as we used to say back in the day. And there is no purpose to lie about these things. Um, be honest to who you are. And if you are supposed to get these claims, you will. So I say all that to say, as a caveat, right? As a disclaimer, this is just an example that I'm about to put up here. Don't take this as gospel. Please don't. It's just an example. So this is an example of how someone could phrase their statement in support of claim in the remarks box. Okay, the following statement is made in connection with a claim for benefits in the case of the above named veteran beneficiary. I am writing this statement to provide critical additional information in support of my claim for increased disability compensation. This includes a reevaluation of a mental health condition for which service connection was previously denied. So this vet had gotten denied for a mental health condition, but they were service connected for physical conditions and they were seeking an increase for physical conditions, right? So this is a supplemental claim. It's not a higher or lower review. This is new and relevant evidence. The effective date for my current service connected conditions is September 28, 2020. Since that time, my mental health has continued to deteriorate, substantially impacting my daily life. We're going to be talking about ADLs, functional statements, occupational functioning, and overall well-being. I understand that service connection for my mental health condition claimed as irritability, anxiety, condition, and stress was previously denied due to lack of continuity of symptoms from service to the present, and no current diagnosed disability at the time of my previous VA examination. Where did I get that information from? Where did we get that information from? What do you think? I'll give you 5 seconds to answer that question. Right, you are a beginning junior VA claims expert, and I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to answer the question of where we might have gotten that information, that verbiage that's in quotes from. If you said we got it from the decision letter, you are absolutely right. Give yourself a pat on the back and a gold star. That's where we got that information directly from the reasons for decision, right? It cited it in the next letter. And so what we're saying is, and no current diagnosed disability at the time of my previous VA examination, I am submitting new and relevant evidence to demonstrate the direct service connection, continuity, and severe worsening of these symptoms. And then you go on in the rest of your package to submit the evidence that you have. Okay. All right. These are just ideas. Um, these are just ways in which to express what may be happening to you. Okay. But make sure you make it yours. Be Form 21 TAC 4138, Statement of Support Claim, Section 3. I certify that the statements on this form are true and accurate to the best of my knowledge and belief. So when I have clients write statements and when I have their family members, coworkers, or friends write statements, I'll put that certification at the bottom if we're writing a free form statement. It'll be structured just like the statement of support claim, and it'll be on this form as well, right? Sometimes I'll just do overkill. It'll be a free form letter signed and dated with the certification statement at the bottom. And also it will be the VA Form 21 TAC 4138. Sometimes if you don't have room, you can just use multiple forms to write the statement of support of claim. If there's a lot you want to say, I would recommend being as brief as you can. Because remember, the VSRs and RVSRs, they have a lot of information to cover, a lot of information to review, right? So being brief, powerful, succinct, and impactful is the best way to go. Of course, there's the Penalty and Privacy Act information. Um, Listen, true and accurate to the best of my belief. Yeah. True and correct. Yeah. Severe penalties, which include fine or imprisonment or both, for the willful, man, subversiveness of any statement or evidence of material fact, knowing it to be false. Falsifying official evidence. In the military is Article 107, I believe. Not good. So make sure you're telling the truth on these claims. All right. Buddy statements. Statements from fellow service members. That YouTube link is a link to my series on 7 ways to write your lay and buddy statements. Okay. Can establish in-service events, combat military sexual trauma injuries. M21 TAC 1 manual gives strong weight when service records are incomplete. We're going to go over the M21 TAC 1 manual about evidence right now. Okay, that's the reference. So we're going to talk a little bit about when to use lay evidence. Okay, 5.2.1.b.2.bravo, when to use lay evidence. Lay evidence is generally afforded probative value if it is provided by a person who has knowledge of facts or circumstances and conveys matters that can be observed and described by a layperson. Okay, the value accorded to other types of lay evidence depends on such factors as the accuracy or clarity of the individual's memory, direct personal knowledge or experience, recency of the event, and the competence of the reporting person. Look at those 4 elements. And you tell me if we've talked about that before. The accuracy or clarity of the individual's memory. Remember what I was telling you in a previous video? You don't want to have, your uncle, auntie, God bless them, but you don't want to have somebody who doesn't have the right mental acuity to be able to remember what happened to write that statement. You want somebody who has direct knowledge or experience, not somebody who sees you once or twice a year. Somebody who has direct knowledge or experience about what may be happening to you. Consider the recency of the event. Did it happen just this year? Did it happen within the last 2 or 3 years? Did it happen 5, 10, 15 years ago? The more distance, the harder the harder it will be to connect to service. So that's the reason why you have to have somebody who really, really has a good understanding, a knowledge of who you are and the recency of the event to be able to determine that. And in lieu of the recency of the event not being there, that's where other medical documentation and evidence would really, really buttress that claim. Okay, the competence of the reporting person, right? And I believe they are talking about mental competence, um, physical competence, those kinds of things, right? They have to be able to have the capacity to make a statement on your behalf. A medically untrained individual is not usually competent to offer a medical opinion regarding the etiology of disorders, and such an opinion is generally assigned little probative weight. Look, translation: you are not a doctor. You are not a doctor. You are a layperson. That's why they call it lay evidence. You're not a doctor. You're not a professional in that field. You might be a professional in whatever field you work in, and I'm sure you're phenomenal at it. But it's not the field of medicine, or it's not the field of mental health, right? If you're not a practitioner, and remember, I said even if you are, it would be unethical for you to provide um, opinions, probative opinions about your friends or family or what have you. It would be unethical to do so. So just keep that in mind. Um, Assign little probative weight, okay, if you give some sort of diagnosis. Probative meaning something that's substantial, that can withstand in the review of medical evidence. All right. Descriptions of symptoms as evidence. A claimant's own statement. I want you guys to hear this. Your own statement covering in sufficient detail a condition that is within the claimant's ability to describe, such as their own symptoms, may to that extent constitute evidence. Here's the rationale or the theory behind that. While such statements have self-serving aspects, they understand that the claimant is often the most qualified source to describe the circumstances of the disabling effects of the disease or industry or injury. You are the only one who can tell your story. It's translation. You are the only one who can tell your story. Again, I don't know who's listening to this. I don't even know if y'all are picking up on this. I'm giving so many jewels, so many jewels I'm giving. I'm not even done. This video's not even done. like I, there's more. There's more than this. So I'm giving you the references. I'm giving you the sauce. I'm giving you the jewels. I'm letting you know, listen, this is how you build evidence. Right? This is the way that you can construct it in such a way where it will be effective. It will be powerful. Make it succinct. You don't have to be long and drawn out. Make it succinct, um, and be respectful. I don't see how you could downplay your claim that way. Okay. Functional impact statements, which we talked about. A functional impact statement is one of the statements I talk about in the series. Regulation requires considering how disability affects ordinary activity, work, daily life relationships. Example, my back pain prevents lifting of greater than 10 pounds. Missed 20 work days last year. That's very specific. A specific statement about how your functional capacity has been hindered. It strengthens your rating percentage. All right, let's go a little bit deeper into CFR 4.10, and I want to get to uh, one of these other things that I really would like to show you guys. Functional impairment is the basis of disability. Evaluation is the ability of the body as a whole, or the psyche or system or organ of the body to function under the ordinary conditions of daily life, including employment, whether the upper or lower extremities, back, the abdominal walls, eyes, ears, cardiovascular, digestive, or other system, or psyche are affected. Evaluations are based on the lack of usefulness of these parts or systems, especially in self-support. What can you do for yourself that you don't require other assistance to do? This imposes upon the medical examiner the responsibility of furnishing, in addition to the etiological, anatomical, pathological, laboratory, and prognostic data required for ordinary medical classification, full description of the effects of the disability upon the person's ordinary activity. In this connection, it will be remembered that a person may be too disabled to engage in employment, although he or she is up and about and fairly comfortable at home or upon limited activity. The examiner must establish your inability to be able to perform activities of daily living. based on the information that is afforded them under their professional auspices in 38 CFR and the DSM-5 if they're a mental health professional, those kinds of things, right? And actually, it's the DSM-5 TR. Happen to own a copy of one of those for a very special reason that I will mention later. But um, they have the professional auspices to be able to diagnose, to be able to determine the veracity of functional ability for the veteran. That's under their professional opinion to be able to do so. It's not under the lay statement, the lay person's professional opinion, not under the veteran's professional opinion. It is the evaluator, the examiner, their professional opinion to determine functional impairment. Just remember that. Okay, that's going to come up later. I'll tell you more about it later. We'll talk more about it later. But that is 38 CFR 4.10. The VA Form 21 526EZ is your superpower. Now, this is what I really want to get to. It's your superpower, y'all. This is the form. Y'all, this is it. This is it. This is the one. Okay. I am going to show you right now, and I know this video is a little long, but if you're still with me, hang out with me. This is good information. I'm going to show you right now how to use this form, right, to build your evidence in a way that will satisfy all of the requirements for what the VA requires when you submit your claim. Let's go. First of all, very good piece of information. We've talked about this before. Where to send your information and evidence. So you may send your application and any evidence supporting your claim by using the following methods shown in the table below. Department of Veterans Affairs, you can mail it. It shows where to mail it and fax it, because you can fax it there too. There's a fax cover sheet that's available that you can fax it directly to, and a number. And you could submit it online. And then we talked about the quick submit, like so the AccessVA. A lot of veterans don't know about that because a lot of veterans have not read about this. But you can do a direct upload and submit your claim through AccessVA, which is quick submit. That's on the form. This part. You know what's also on the form? What the evidence must show to support your claim. Listen, man. This is on the 526EZ form. Let's read it together. If you're claiming that you have a disability that was caused or aggravated by your service, see the evidence table entitled Disability Service Connection. These evidence tables are listed underneath in other parts of the form. Okay. You have a qualifying disability that arose as a result of presumption or exposure. See the table Presumption Service Connection. It's below that section, right? On the form. This is all on the form. Your service-connected disability caused or aggravated additional disability. You see secondary service connection. Your service-connected disability has worsened, increased disability compensation, and on and on and on. 1151 claims, temporary total disability ratings, individual unemployability, special adapted housing, auto allowances, special monthly compensation. You could literally file your claim only based on the information you get from here. Just based on this information. This would educate you so much. And you know, I encourage you to take what I say even with a grain of salt. I try to be as accurate as I possibly can. I try to do as much research as I can for this channel because I want to give you guys accurate information and good, truthful, factual information. But go back and study what I'm saying. Like I'm literally giving you the form that the VA has put out to show you exactly how to submit and file your claim. That's where I get my information from. I get it from the source. So take it for what it's worth. But I will always encourage you that knowledge is power. This form is something that is a little known secret to really, really boost your claim and help you educate yourself and give you the knowledge on what you need if you decide to go at it alone. No problem doing that. Plenty of resources to help you It may take a little bit longer, but you can do it if that's what you decide to do. Continued. This is these are evidence tables. To support a claim for service connection, the evidence must show you had an injury in service or disease that began or was made permanently worse during service, or there was an event in service that caused an injury or disease, and you have a current physical or mental disability. This may be shown by medical evidence or lay evidence of persistent and recurrent symptoms of disability that are visible or observable, and a relationship exists between your current disability and an injury. That's called a nexus. Symptoms or event in service. This may be shown by medical records or medical opinions, or in certain cases by lay evidence. And we just went through all of that. we just talked about all of that. It's here again. It's here again. It's on every form that the VA publishes. It's on every piece part of the website. That's the reason why. That's the reason why I understand, but I don't. When veterans are like, I don't really know like what I'm supposed to do, outside of certain cases where there really is perhaps physical, mental, educational, other ailments, um, differently abled folks. Outside of that, and just not really being able to comprehend, which we fully understand. I mean, this is out here. This is out here. I'm just presenting the evidence to you. I'm presenting the knowledge to you. I'm presenting the facts to you. I'm presenting the tools and the resources to you. But all of this is publicly available. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but um, this is laid out plainly for you to help you do what you got to do on your claim. All right. And again, I know a lot of people seek out services for convenience, and I'm totally with that as well. You know, I can walk you through these things. Reach out to us, Craig C at Craig C at WorldRockLLC.com. Um, get my free PDFs, get all my stuff, get everything that I have available, these tools and resources. There's so much more I'm going to give you, but there's so much I've already given that I think will assist and will help you. If you took this form and you took every PDF that I wrote, that I've already provided, I have 14 of them. You took those and you took this form and you took some of the other phenomenal, excellent content creators that we have out there who are helping people with VA claims. You just kind of made a little library of that. You'd be fine. You'd be perfectly fine. If you chose the right company and decided to go with that company, you would also be fine. I happen to think that if you chose our company, that like you would have great success. But there are plenty of other companies where if you chose them, you would have great success too. It really is on you and how you want to do this and how you want to put this together. I'm just saying, this is a superpower. This is I mean, I'm not really a gamer, but this would be like the all access pass to, you know, rescuing the queen or getting to the end of the game. The level up. This is the leveling up times 10. Okay. Here's some real examples of evidence use. PTSD buddy statement confirms exposure plus lay statement describes the symptoms. Knee injury, private ortho report plus functional impact statement on mobility. These are ways that it could happen. Okay, ways that you could put it together. There's some common mistakes to avoid. I will say this in all my videos. Common mistakes to avoid, pitfalls, certain things to avoid: submitting only medical records for getting lay and buddy evidence. Generic or vague statements like I heard every day. We talked about that before in this channel. Don't just say I heard. Don't just say I have pain. Right? Be specific on where it is. Talk about how it feels when it hurts. Um, Talk about specific areas of your body and how it has affected you, your activities of daily living, and how it's functionally affected you. And then assume the VA will get all the records automatically. They may not. Okay, so please don't make that assumption. We've talked about the delineation and division of responsibility, and there is a responsibility that you have as a veteran. I'm willing to assist. I'm willing to help outline those things for you and pull these things together for you. give us a call. Not give us a call, but shoot us an email, and we'd love to assist. All right, here's some best practices. Use the 21-4138, which is the statement of support claim. Clearly, one issue per page. Be concise and be specific. I said that earlier. I said be concise. Be brief. Be specific. Be to the point. Be informational. Be powerful. Be impactful. Because that RVSR or that VSR is going to be looking at your package and they don't have a lot of time. So you got to say what you got to say and move out the way. I know that rhymes, but say what you got to say and move out the way. Make room for the blessing that is going to come to you. All right. Be brief, be concise, say what you got to say, move out the way. Collect medical plus lay plus functional evidence. That will make for the strongest package. Keep copies of everything. That's a knock on wood. That's a continual refrain. Keep copies of everything, y'all. Okay. References used in this video will be available in the video description. When it comes to winning your VA disability claim, family, evidence is everything. Evidence is king. Strong evidence, whether it's medical records, lay statements, buddy statements, functional impact reports. These types of things give the VA the proof that they need to have to connect your service, condition to your service, and assign the right rating. If evidence is king, service connection is queen, so that they work together to make sure that we build a picture of service, the in-service event being the causality of your current symptomology, where you now fall into the line of being compensated for your injuries and compensated for your pain, compensated for your disability or condition from service. When it comes to winning your VA disability claim, gathering federal records, scheduling exams, you play a vital role, more vital, I believe, than the VA does by providing these things for them. Okay. Please don't rely, family, on just one type of evidence alone. Okay. Gather as much as you possibly can. The strongest claims combine medical evidence, lay testimony, functional evidence, and deep medical records and treatment records to create a complete picture of your service-connected disability. Evidence wins claims. Be specific, be detailed, back up everything you say by documentation. Tell your story, present the right forms and supporting documents to give your VA claim the best chance of approval. I know I said that before. You want to give yourself the strongest possible chance. And you do that by gathering evidence that matters and evidence that can be supported. Thank you for watching, guys. I really do appreciate you watching. I thank you so much for subscribing. I thank you so much for following me and supporting me and being there to listen to all of my little quirks and things. I really just want to help veterans. I have a deep desire to see veterans succeed and thrive and grow and function in greater capacities. So if this really did help you understand what counts as strong evidence, please give it a thumbs up, share with another veteran, like, subscribe. I really want to empower veterans to not only do their claims, but to believe in themselves and to believe that they can achieve way more than they ever thought possible. I'm going to be giving more information about VA claims. Again, I'll mention this not just to say just because they're so great or anything like that, but this is part of the empowerment to give veterans tools and resources to be able to do it themselves. And now it may just start you off. You may do more research that will give you greater understanding down the line of what you need to do for your claim, or it could be a jump off beginning point for you. But I really want to provide those resources and be that source for you. Your story deserves to be heard. Your evidence deserves to be seen, veterans. and your healing deserves to be honored. You are loved, accepted, um, you matter, you're supported, and you need to know that. So keep reclaiming your purpose, keep living royally, and keep living well. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.